Actually, this is Krill again. This is an addendum to the Turn 73 report. I actually played Turn 73 and made a lot of the moves very quickly and ultimately quite rashly. For example, Worker 3 moved to chop this forest. That's actually the incorrect move. Because I don't need to chop that forest um, right now. I don't need to chop this forest until the turn before I'm ready to pop. Ready to save Aaron again. I actually should have cottaged the tile the chariot's on. Because there's only one turn into a cottage here. If I'd have cottaged that, what could happen is next turn, both workers here could finish that cottage. So the new population from a ram collusion can work the cottage. Um, I would, at the end of that, I'd still make 3 hammers this turn. I'd make 2 next turn, and then I'd be able to use both workers to chop this forest the turn before I needed it chopped. Actually, the exact turn I needed it chopped, the turn before I slaved. So that would have been ideal. Now I am unable to get this cottage finished. So I actually lose like 1 commerce. If I were to work this tile, I'd lose 1 commerce, and I'd lose 1 commerce every subsequent turn that cottage grew. So I'm actually losing quite just a few commerce over the course of the entire game by doing this one single worker mismove effectively. There's no way to actually change this now. That is a mismove. The point is that because ARAM collusion gives up the sheep next turn, and there's a new pop growth, there's only 3 improved tiles that this city can work, and there'll be 5 pop there. Even with even working forests for a turn, whilst that's acceptable, that's not as good as working cottages. And those mines aren't going to be complete until after next turn anyway. So that small mismove is actually quite an important mismove to consider here. Says that I should have considered the worker management all the way through the next few turns, whereas I just decided to move it without any thought, and that was a mistake on my part. A pretty big mistake that I made. I also haven't talked much about tech this turn, and I also think that was a mistake because I justified moving this chariot down to pillage this cottage here. I didn't talk about again the fact that this is a 7 experience chariot. This is one of the units I want to get to 10. One of the units I'm considering getting to 10 XP, or I'm trying to get to 10 experience points for heroic epic. I didn't consider that there was barb units down here. I did, but I didn't say that explicitly. I decided I'll go with it anyway. And that was a bad choice. Even though there was only... I was moving next to 3 tiles that could potentially hold a barb. If I'd have decided to move anywhere, I actually would have probably... if I'd moved adjacent to Pindicator's borders, I'm potentially moving next to a unit Pindicator's got. I think there's a higher probability of that happening than running into a barb, to be totally honest. That's one of the reasons I didn't want to move adjacent there. And if I moved to this hamlet, whilst these 2 tiles are peace, there's still 3 tiles that barbs could be on, so it's actually the same thing, same risk with whatever move I did. And this was actually the lowest potential move. The other point is that the gold I can get from pillaging these tiles makes up for several turns worth of research. Each turn pillaging is basically about a third of a turn, slightly more than a third of a turn of a gold generation. And I need to consider when I can turn research back on. For example, mathematics is it's actually almost a 6-turn tech, and with the library being completed in 2 turns, it would definitely be a 6-turn tech. I have enough gold at present for almost 13 turns worth of research, so that would leave me with 7 turns research spare into calendar, which might not get me to calendar. However, with potential pillage gold, I actually could turn it on now and just about get there. The fact that I'm going to save gold for a further 2 turns, because I didn't slave this library last turn, means that I might actually be delayed to... I might have actually have delayed the time to calendar slightly. So that's potentially quite a big problem that I might actually, it might actually be the best thing right now to slave got the reset and just turn tech on. I mean, I wouldn't turn tech on this turn. I'd turn it on next turn with the extra 26 gold because I'd be whipping away a 1 commerce tile. I'd actually... I might get there a turn sooner. Even though I should have whipped last turn. Because I basically paid an extra 2 food to grow. So that would it's actually shown that actually I should have perhaps just gone with the slave. I actually don't slave as hard as I perhaps should. That's perhaps a fault that I have when I play these games. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I'll just whip every single city every single turn, but that's a bit more indiscriminate. The other point is that giving up this pig tile means that I need to reconsider getting the granary in Donga, which is quite difficult considering I want to finish the spear and then overflow out and finish the axe anyway, and I'm lowering hammer potential if I move off the hill. Of course, the counter to that point is that a 6-turn maths means that I could move worker 1 quite simply to this tile to chop, or I could it's incredibly easy to chop this plains forest that's 1 turn from being finished anyway. I could easily chop that in for 30 hammers when maths is finished. In fact, I would even want, if I slaved now, I would want to consider giving up the pig anyway. So I might even have to give that over. So could I even wait 6 turns? If I gave up a hill to work that pig, I would gain 5 food a turn. I'd actually grow in 6 turns. If I gave up the irrigated sugar, I would only gain +2. So, but I'd keep the hammers. It's actually even now. Whilst I just play this turn very quickly, there's actually a lot more that should be considered whilst playing this turn. And I've not even talked about here tomorrow big for quite a long time. I've just said I'm going to get these units and play it safe, which is actually quite risky at the moment because this city's not really. Again, it's still not doing much. I do need to reconsider the fact that I'm going to need to get workers down here to improve this sugar. Now, I don't necessarily, or I could just think, do I even want to improve this sugar, considering I've got 1 up here, even though I'm replacing that, irrigate those 5 worker turns into that farm. Don't get me wrong, I had to farm it, I needed the food. But would it be better to replace that farm or try and get this new one here? Do I need to get a worker down here to do this? There's a lot that's not actually been said on this turn, or that I really can. There's just so much I've not considered. Not even considered what I would build after a library. All the time to regrow to size 8 when the whip unhappiness wears off, because I'd still have to wait 10 turns. And because of that, I said I don't want to work this pig, so I'd want to go from making +6 food a turn to only making +2. When I gave up this farm, I'd only be making +1. So I'd even have to do some micromanagement between the pig farm and with Donga. Let's check the power graph, and this can explain most things. So I'm still highest power. Novice is still pretty high. I think no, that's not novice. That's novice on score. Novice on power is actually medium-ish. Thoth's a bit higher. Sadoa's all the way up here, but he's waging a war. Commodore's still doing nothing. So actually, do I need that axe? If I wanted to, it would be fairly trivial to... I mean, this turn I'll overflow out 10 hammers. Next turn I'll make 15, so I could build a granary for a single turn. So like the granary's a 4-turn build. Even with that overflow doesn't actually help. However, if I were to whip a spearman this turn, whip away a hill, whip away a hill, I'd be making 12 hammers a turn. I need 5, which means I'd overflow out 7, but I'd make 30 anyway from the whip. Right, so I make 37 hammers into the granary, so it means I only need 23 spare, 23 left. I want the food box to be half full when I finish the granary. Kinda, there's a few tricks there. I want the granary at, so I want at 15ish food. Whip that, I make 1. Move that to there, I make 3. So that's 5 turns just off doing that. I'd still be making 12, so I could get the granary done in 2 turns. Or do I need it in 2 turns? If I were to only work the copper and 1 hill, I'd be making 9 a turn. I could do it in 3. I still work the pig and I work the sugar. So 1. Move them to there, make 6. So I'd need 28 food to grow 3 turns. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd make 24 if I did it that way. I'm going to whip it and get this granary next. I'm not going to get the axe. The slavery unhappiness will wear off actually quite quickly, considering that I'd lose 1 this turn, 3 to complete the granary, so I'd need 6. And that's only to grow it to size 7. It'd be down at size 4. It's got to regrow to size 5, to size 6, and then to size 7. So it's going to take 10 turns anyway to, like, before that happiness even unhappiness comes into play. So that'd be fine. Got the reset, can't grow anyway, so I'm actually going to whip this granary, whip this spear, Ram Collusion can just finish this chariot and then do another settler, well, just a settler. Say Baron again still does the granary to library because that's the best place to get a great scientist out, whereas there's no tile improvements and plenty of food. And here tomorrow big, still doing that spear, then it does a settler. In fact, there's no granary in place, is there? The axe is at 14, 10, 10. 5, 28. Actually, I can finish this spearman. 5, 8, 10, that's 15. Becomes 23 plus 4 is 27. 16, 47. If I can get this city quite easily, I only have to build that settler for 3 turns. I can 1-pop whip it. The food box will decrease to 28 and it'll be full. So the turn I finish the settler, I could actually regrow the pop. That's what I'm probably going to do, because I'm not going to get a granary anytime soon after that. Then I can finish the axeman, and I can probably 27, 47, 67. Need 33. 1 pop is worth 48. The city would then only be making... I'd give up the whale for a turn. The city would be making 9. So it's 15, 9, 9 plus 4, 13. Oh, that's... 28. I think that I'd actually overflow out the axe on the turn after as well. And then I could just build the granary. There'd be enough in that city. There'd be an axe, there'd be an archer. The axe the axe can probably move up a bit. I'd want a spear as well. I'd probably... no, I don't care too much about the spear here. Yeah, illustration, chariot's already in place. So I could build that spear, move it up and around, do it. I need to find a worker then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in 8 turns I need to have a worker on that rise ready to go. But I also want I also want workers chopping to get that granary down. I'd have maths in that by that point anyway. I'd have maths by that point anyway, so I can easily just chop 2 forests in and get the granary at size 1, and then quickly grow it up. And the worker, well, road for turn. That cottage is finished. Do that for turn, and they'll both move up and cottage this tile for turn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's not going to be a problem at all. I'll have to move 1 to there, 1 to road for turn and cancel and move the other. So, but these 2 workers can easily get everything done and still get into place to improve this city. In fact, I might even want to consider wasting a worker turn, as it were, not to cottage this plains tile. Just move up and around, move on to this one to finish this cottage, move on to the farm to put 2 cottages into cottage turns into there. Then move one of them over the cottage cancel to move onto the hill to chop it. And the other one moves down and roads this forest first, because even though the 1, 2, 3, 4, it makes no difference, because unless I were to chop that, it makes no difference either way. Actually, makes no difference no matter what I do. Yeah, it doesn't really make that much difference, but because it's going to take 5 turns to improve that anyway, that city's going to either work an unimproved tile or work the lumber mill. It's probably going to just half fill 15, 16. Still want 2 forest chops. Doesn't matter. Yeah, 3 workers would be ideal, but I don't think I'm going to get 3 workers because I need to use. Yeah, I might get away with 3 workers actually. Might be able to use worker 1 temporarily because I use this forest chop in Raja Donga. I can use it as an emergency unit. This worker's basically free to do whatever it wants to do. Road the pig, most likely. Get a cottage down. Don't know. There's 2 here, but these 2 workers are going to be free to get Say Baron again. Hooked up just with 1 forest chop into a library, potentially 2. Well, I actually need both of them chopped anyway because they're adjacent to the city. But then they can hook up City 7 quite quickly. Even though there's no... because I need the food hooked up, but because, as I said before, there's no forests, there's not much to chop. It's just mining tiles. Or maybe I should settle for the front city rather than that corn whale fish city. Because the gold's nice. No, I wouldn't ever dispute the gold's nice. It overlaps on the corn, so there's times when this city wouldn't necessarily want it. Like, don't get me wrong, once this city's fully grown it needs all the food resources. There's so many hills that it needs all the food resources, but early on it can get away with not using the corn. It's packed in a bit tight, It could be packed in a bit tight, but it's not. The gold's a nice tile to have and to work. I don't care much about the ivory. I can't fit that in and the gold unless I'm like incredibly aggressive and plant here. But I'm never going to do that. There's a hill. It's too close to Pindicator. But if that's if he's got a city, if he's not put borders here, if I were to plant on this windmill, he couldn't. If those borders haven't popped, he can't plant closer. So that's like our perfect border. No fat crosses or overlapping. It's quite nicely done. Novice might try and settle down here though for that gold, and that'd wind me up no end. But if I settle on the desert, and it's a desert tile, it's pretty junk. There's that windmill tile's really nice with the forest. Settle on the desert, it's a junk tile. Guess the gold first ring. There's a few lakes to work, nothing special, but lakes are nice because they don't require any work or improvement. You just hook up the food, I pop borders, I get the gold hooked, grow it to size whatever, and just sit there. It's an expensive city, really, because it's so far away from my capital. But it's a good border city. Got the gold. Yeah, it's got the gold, good border city. That's actually not a bad place to plant, rather than just try and get another economic city set up. Right, that border city's done. Then I'd want City 7 hooked up. The advantage of planting on that windmill, though, is that it's very difficult. My culture and that peak effectively lock off this approach, whereas if I plant on that desert, a city to the south means that there's always a potential route in along here, so it's not. The Hill City is not the best for a frontline border city. It's just. So maybe the windmill's the better place to plant, even though the gold's over there. Yeah, I might maybe the windmills, but I'm considering planting over here first rather than another economic city. Because I'm thinking that Here to My Big's good enough all round city. Got the reset's going to start churning, paying the bills basically, and keeping tax rate reasonable. Rajadonga is a very good production city, and now it's getting the pig, and I can get that granary in quickly and just grow it. With a rush to calendar, the city won't have a happy cap of 7; it'll have a happy cap of 10. Well, it's at 5 already. 6 would be the pig. 7, 8, 9 are the hills. I mean, and that's 4 food. That's 4. I mean, that's 9. It's enough. And there it is, going from making 15 a turn to making 25. It's just going to keep on improving. It's just a really good production city. That's the city that I want the heroic epic in. As soon as the heroic epic is down in this city, that's enough for pretty much all of my base unit needs. I just get heroic epic, and this city just builds military forever. Aram Collusion's got plenty of well, not happiness. It's got enough happiness, plenty of food, even giving up the sheep for a bit. Give up the ivory eventually. Give up the hill. It's not going to have much left, but it can easily, one cottage. It can easily just work a few cottages. I could easily. There's so much food here, and it's got enough population that I could just whip out the library and work some more scientists if I really wanted to, or use it just to slave out settlers, build settlers, whatever. It's basically Aram Collusion could best be described as the free city that Imperialistic has given me, because if you look at Thoth, he doesn't his best city's size 4, some size 2. Novice, Miller, his front city size 2. I'm trying to work silver and rice, and he's got one less city anyway. Aram Collusion's basically seems to be the bonus that Imperialistic has given me. So, say Baron again, that'll get the great scientist, means that all the other cities don't have to worry about great people generation. So, yeah, say Baron again is going to be a bit crippled, but it'll be good enough. It'll definitely do enough. It only needs to be size 3 anyway to make the Great Scientist. I want it to be to work the sheep so that it can work a few other tiles as well. The sheep and it's all plains hills around here actually, so I don't want to work hills, but plain sheep, maybe borders will pop, get a cottage down just for a little bit extra commerce, or a farm, maybe just work the lakes tiles for a bit, just so that I've got, so the population is productive and I can whip them out into military if I need to. So yeah, what am I doing? So what am I going to do? Here's my big off slave the one pop into the settler. I'll do that later. Got the reset, I accept that I screwed up, and I whip. I'm going to overflow at 11. So I can get whatever I want here. I could get another unit, I could, after this, in fact, build a worker. Worker might not be the worst choice in the world. Could even build a settler. Settler's not a bad choice, actually. There's no barracks in this city, so I'd actually prefer just to get the settler from here, because I can get a unit out of anywhere else. There's barracks in every city other than say Baron again. So how's that done? If I don't slave now, build the spear this turn, build into the granary next turn 74, build into it on 75, right, because I can only double whip it, turn 74, double whip it turn 75 actually, 73, 74 I build it in, 75 I can't whip it, 76 I can whip it, so if I were to whip now, 73, overflow 74, fuck it, there's no point even whipping, I'm not even going to bother whipping, I'm just going to keep it as is. Oh. 1, 2, 7 next turn. 7 again. Seven plus 12 is 7 plus 12 plus 12, same as 7 plus 15 plus 15. 51. Actually, do I chop the forest before I get maths? Because that's 10, that'd make it, so I'd get it done. I would. No, there's not much point in chopping it actually. Oh, shit, that's a mistake. This is... But the point is, do I need to finish that spear? What's happening with that spear? I'm building that spear to defend this city. But the reason I started it was because I thought Thoth was actually was potentially going to try to quick little horse archer rush. But I don't think he is. Looking at his power, I don't think he is. So I don't need to do that actually. I could just build a 4-turn granary right now. Or a 5-turn granary. Or I could build that for 3 turns. 1, 2, 3. One of these days I'm going to just play a game where every time I've got a decision I filter it down into an either or decision and toss a coin. I'm going to become the Joker. Whip it, 21, need 28, only save 14. Could do it that way. That'll be okay. So what I'm going to probably just do with Rage Donga is actually just build this granary for 3 turns, whip it on the 4th. No, I don't want to do that because that delays the happiness countdown. Getting rid of the slavery and happiness. So that's what the advantage of whipping it now was, that it got the countdown starting sooner. Just whip it now, and that was 30 already, wasn't it? Flow out 7, be 23, 2 turns. So actually, no, it is better to whip it now. And just do that. I'm just going to whip it now. So, and then do the granary immediately after, and then get the axeman done following that before the food decays. AM collusion, yeah, just build the settler after that. And that's that. And I've already explained why that was a mistake over here. After this, I mean, what domain now? I've whipped away from commerce producing tiles, so that does affect tech rate a bit. But losing 23 gold means I'm still slightly over 50% break even. So, save this turn. Research starts next turn. I'll have 342 gold saved. That's 70. That's like 14 and it's still 14 turn. Yeah, 14 and a bit turns worth of research. Yeah, so definitely restart research next turn. I'll just go and I'll just try and burn straight through maths. That cottage will be complete as well. So move off the farm. If I were to build a settler, I'll still be making 10 hammers a turn. So that's 16, 17 with this food. Making 17 with food, so that's pretty much 6 turns set. So yeah, that'd be a 6 turn settler, easy. So yeah, I'll and I can slave a settler out to here tomorrow big, just to drop the food bar a little bit before. So yeah, that's settler for city 5. I can get a settler out of ARAM collusion for the front city. I can get a settler out of got the reset for the nice little, so I don't even have to pop borders to get all of the food hooked in this area. Although I would need to, if I settled the windmill, I would have to pop to get that. But with the library in Say Baron again as well, that's going to make it a bit more difficult for him to settle up on this, for Novice to settle up. So I'll probably still keep the gold. Yeah, I can do this. I think I can do this. Even though I've only got 6 workers, settling 3 new cities. Yes, and 3 new cities isn't really a problem when I've got number one power and I don't actually have to keep on building more military right now. I'm already paying for unit cost. I can get workers out afterwards, especially with the hills. Give them the sheep 6 yield tile, 3 yield tile, 4 yield tile, 4 yield tile, 4 yield tile. There's enough here that I can get stuff done. Get workers out of here as well. So I'm not really at risk of falling behind on worker labour either if I do that. It's just difficult to get the fish and whales hooked. But then again, I need to pop borders first before the fish even comes in, and the whales isn't the best tile to work. It's nice, but I can just irrigate a grassland tile and I've still got 3 food. So the 30 hammers that I'd need to get in place just to get in the +1 hammer per turn back, that can wait a bit. It's better just to hook up the corn, get a granary down, and then look at popping borders. There's 2 grassland tiles there, so they can easily they'll provide a fair few hammers to get barracks down. Granary's probably going to have to be slaved from size 2 though, but whatever. The archer will easily cover this tile if I move out the worker just to... If I move the worker out, which I don't... the warrior out, I don't want to, because it's... Again, I can upgrade it to a spear if need be, or an axe. I can easily cover this land with a warrior. Against barbs now, because the archer will give it clean line of sight to get into place to basically stop barbs from spawning, whilst the archer then moves further out. Measuredonga got the spear. Spear can still stay in this area. The axe will get done very shortly as well, by the time any settlers would complete. So I can get the axe. So I can easily get the axe down. Yeah, everything's going okay, I think. I am going to be running it a bit on the risky side for getting if I were to try and get so many cities out, but not that risky. There will still be military units in position. For City 5 there'd be a spear and an archer. There would be an archer for City 7, chariot around here as well to cover the front city. And I can easily get the archer into any position I want to cover whatever city. And if there's this City 7 site would be protected anyway if I went for the front city. So I would only need a road in place and like a road down, and this chariot still covers it quite well. So yeah, there's a chariot and warrior over here to cover ARAM collusion and stuff off that hill. So no, there's enough military in place. Score still increasing. GNP novice again is just culture. He's researching, don't get me wrong, and he's not probably researching that badly, but not that worried. MFG, it's not even close. Because this is me after whipping 2 tiles. Other people are probably whipping more. But even then, I am still whipping. It's not, and I'm still making good production. Thoth, diddle. Why? And power, I'm still number 1. Thoth doesn't do. Thoth's not that scary. Got to be aware of him. Sudoa is scary, but he's attacking Pindicate at the other side of the world. Novice hasn't built much. Commodore's laughable. Novice with Henge, Oracle, and a religion. And poor Ickle Commodore's dead holy city. And you can see that I actually invested in barracks or monuments. No one can actually tell from this graph, but it is barracks, obviously. The fact that these lines are differentiated, I think, shows how slow the different rate people have been expanding, though, because I've actually got my barracks in my cities before Granary, Normally that's a bad move, but when you can't build granaries, it's understandable. Um, so Sudoa kind of grew a bit faster than Thoth. He got screwed in the war. Novice built wonders, yeah. Nothing new there. And obviously no espionage in this game. My GMP rank is dropping, but I've saved so much gold that it's shortly. What is it? It's going to be. And it doesn't go up much. It goes up to third at 46, so I'd still be down compared to novice. But again, if he's got 4 cities and henge, so that's 8 from henge plus the 4 from the monuments. Um, Ignore the ones from the monuments because they're actually useful culture. But so it's 8 from henge. Is it 8 from oracle? 16. Holy city is an extra 5, and then 1 from having the religion in the city anyway. So that's 6. So that's like 20 or so culture that's just not doing anything for him. So he's not researching that fast. He's not, for example, researching any faster than I am. Or I could do. No more than 50 beacons per turn. So yeah, I'm probably going to go straight through maths to calendar. I'll make a play at the Mausoleum of Mausoleus, but I don't think I'm going to get it. Because it's finding a city to build it that's safe, making sure I've got enough military and all that stuff. Census Dwell map does nothing. It's worth 3 happiness to me. Better chops, hanging guns I'm not going to go for. Fort does nothing really. So I'll go for this, just for the happiness. There's not... Although if it weren't for the happiness, I mean 3 happiness isn't that great. I'd be a lot happier if I could get the spice for 4. But I'll take it. I actually want to get ironworking to chop out the bananas and get those hooked, because that'd be pretty nice. Just because the banana means that I don't care about the pig anymore for Regidonga, so I can definitely keep it. And here tomorrow big, that like almost doubles the food. It means that here tomorrow big will grow a lot faster. Here tomorrow big would actually be a great little place to work a dozen artists, but I'd actually just keep on slaving this city, because I want to actually workshop most of the tiles around it, but I don't have metal casting, and workshops aren't that great without cast anyway. So, but it would allow me to get the population in place first, working whatever junk tiles I can, doing whatever it wants, slaving it, rather than get to it late. And at the same time, I'm trying to grow the city. At the same time, I'm trying to get workshops down. But ironworking, I'd have to wait until after horseback riding, potentially after construction. But yeah, it's an extra 3 happiness is worth it to me. Simply to work some more cottages, got the reset, work some more hills at Regidonga, potentially slave a bit harder at Aram Collusion. Say Baron again, if I were just... What is it? 6, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, this city could just work a ton of plains hills. They're not great tiles, but again, it's easy to get production out. But it's not that easy to get commerce out. And it's very difficult to turn these cities into cottage cities, because they're all front cities, they're all at risk of being lost. You need the production somewhere. And whilst Regidonga is going to be a good city once it's got all the infrastructure, I've got literature and the heroic epic. Until then, I do need more production. So these cities again can just make what commerce they can, but I just need the production. Do everything. Front city with gold's not bad. Gold and an oasis and a sheep, some lakes. It's decent. Yeah, dies and rise. It's fine. So I'm not like 100% sure that calendar's the best tech choice to aim for, but I need but I do kind of need more happiness because I'm at the kind of at the limits of where I can grow vertically now. I need it to hook up good tiles. I need it to continue to grow basically because I can't plant these cities and stay with a happy cap of size 7 because I'll end up tanking the economy because of the cost of these cities, and other people will then be able to research, probably be able to research faster than me, and I'll just have difficulty defending such a wide empire. But calendar, the more population, doesn't necessarily help that me defend so much, but enables me to have a better economy that means I can build the units. I'll have the population to build the units, I'll have the population to slave if needed. I'll have more commerce from working more tiles and stuff. It's horseback riding that'll basically allow me to defend myself, but I'm putting that off for a bit. Because if I were to get horseback riding now, and I were to build horse archers, I might find that people go and just take some of these city sites, and if I were to delay slightly, um, so I'd have to rush out to. I've still got to rush. Like, I've still got to rush to get these cities, but my tech rate would probably fall to the extent that I wouldn't be able to get the calendar fast enough to recuperate quickly. Mm. So yeah, I'm still not sure, but I'm gonna go for it. I think it's the safest option, and the long-term view of the game. Obviously, getting a multi-tech next is always the safest short-term, but not necessarily long-term. So, but I don't think Novice will do anything militaristically. Pindicator might rebound and um, try and settle towards me, because Sadoa's taking his front city. I need to stop that. I need to take this city front. No, get this front city, get the gold. Pindicator can't stop me. At that point, Neil will be a bit squashed. But it's a good front city, safe front city. I don't think he'll complain about it too much. So yeah, that's a rather large addendum to the Turn 73 report.